Have any of you guys ever taken advice from someone and got in trouble for it? The advice was totally wrong, and it was you who took the fall for it. Any of you guys? Yeah, well, sometimes you can take the advice of somebody and the consequences will not be too big, but sometimes it can be very detrimental. The quote that I'll be sharing with you today is, "If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch." And first I'll start off by talking about a minor consequence that I've suffered from following an idiot. One time, I remember back in the day, when I was still playing basketball and running during conditioning, a friend suggested, "Hey man, like let's cut through the grass field and get to the other side and get better times." And I was like, in my head, I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. So I listened to this guy, and we ran across the field, and I remember my coach, he saw us doing this, told us to come over, called us over, and he told us that we'll be running 5 more miles, just the two of us, after conditioning. You know, after this, I never listened to that kid again. And next on, I would like to, that was a pretty minor consequence, but sometimes the consequences can be a lot greater. I remember a time when I used to work for a company called Pokey. Have you guys ever had Pokey? Yeah. Pretty good, right? But you know, the fish it's very important to keep an eye on the fish, because the fish can get old, and if you touch it with dirty hands, it can get contaminated. And I remember the manager at the time, he told me, "Hey, you don't need to put a glove on, we need to get this out quick. We need to get this food out quick so that the customers don't complain." So I grabbed the fish, put it in the bowl, and gave it to them. No big deal, right? A couple days later, we get a call from the same person that I gave that food to, telling us that our food got him sick. And ultimately, we had to close down the shop for a little while. You see, unlike the previous example, this led to a major consequence. And since we're on the topic of the Bible, I would like to talk about a Bible story called the Tower of Babel. Have you guys heard of it? Any of you guys? Alright, so the Tower of Babel was a bunch of people got together to create a tower, because they wanted to make a tower so big that they would reach the heavens. And God took offense to that. He said, "You guys will not be able to reach me." So they made all these people speak different languages. So this led to people mindlessly and blindlessly trying to get this tower built. But like the quote said, if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. So they couldn't communicate because they didn't have a for sure leader. So ultimately the tower fell over and they weren't able to build the tower. All in all, I believe that if you follow somebody who gives bad advices, it can lead to minor consequences, but it can also lead to a lot more bigger problems. And therefore, I would like to end today with telling you guys, be careful who you listen to.
No, don't bring it back to me.
I feel like everyone's going to do that.
Yeah, I guess I'm just going to keep repeating myself. That happens. You can see that in every speech that we're hearing. That was mean. Sorry about that. All right, at the beginning, I thought, is it a rhetorical question? No, it's a survey. That's always a little complicated. Good transition, though, to the topic. I thought that that worked pretty well. There's not really a preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. I know what your thesis is mostly because of the direction that you head with your first topic, as opposed to your telling us exactly what it was that you were going to do. Like I said, there was no preview, but you had good examples on the individual points. At least the first two, I thought you did a pretty good job coming up with some nice details to illustrate the point that you're talking about. Your Tower of Babel story doesn't quite fit as well as it should. I do think that there are ways to make it work, but you don't seem to have kind of figured out how to connect it, and I thought that it was kind of a stretch to get it to fit in there. Presentation issues, your voice projects reasonably well. There's a solid variety. It's very fluid while you're speaking. I like that. I also thought that you had some good indicators while you were speaking. Your facial expressions, you look engaged. Eye contact is usually solid. The anxiety is coming out in your feet. You do two things that seem to indicate that. One is there's a little bit of pacing while you're speaking, and the other is that you've backed up as far as you can get without being behind the screen while you're giving the speech. I think you need to step forward a little bit and assert yourself, engage the audience, and give a sense of immediacy when you're speaking. You know, the more you step back, the less engaged we're going to feel with you. I did like, like I said, I thought the anxiety's coming out in your feet, but I did think that you had a good exit line at the end of the speech, and you were making a point that was pretty straightforward. Thank you.